Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today it is Tears Day, the 16th day of the month of 7, and the moon is waning a crescent. It's just started waning as a crescent. It's no longer waning gibbous. So let's get some runes down. Let's see what message wants to come through today. This is the message that is for whenever you find this video, and for whoever this message is for. If you are listening to it and it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. It's for somebody else, or maybe it's for you in the future. So let's get some runes down. I'm using the Elder Futhark on Birch today. Here we go. Let's see what message wants to come through today in these rare times. That was sort of, I'm just going to kind of leave it like that. So I'm going to put the whole reading down, and then we will see. How are you? How are you in these rare times? Hang in there. Just, if you're here, you have tickets, so make the most of that. Okay. Okie doke. Get this looking pretty. All right. So your central issue for the message that wants to come through today is Othala. Othala is the rune of the home and the homeland. And this has to do with solace, sanctuary, protection, comfort zone. And it looks like you are you're definitely seeking this. You're focusing on home and what you want home to be. Leading up to this, we have Manas, which is the rune of humanity, and your part in it. It looks like there's been a lot of, the din of humanity happening, and you may feel like you don't know who you're looking at when you look in the mirror anymore. You may feel like it's all you're just reflecting what you're being buffeted with, and this is, when I put this down, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be upright or reversed, so that's why I'm sort of reading it this way as, there are people out in the world that you're facing with joy, but then there's a certain amount of it where you're questioning it. It's like, am I facing these people who are facing me with joy, or am I just facing them with joy as courtesy, and that's not who I really am? And so there's that question of I need to find who I am. I need to be with myself for a while and get things clear and solid. So this is sort of like we're focusing on home. We're focusing on building a space that is your space, where you can remember who you are, and where you can feel comfort in, and where you can feel a sense of solace and a sense of sanctuary. And that's what you're focusing on right now. What is going to help you? We have Kanas reversed and Raido. So what's going to help immediately is the fact that you are putting focus on this. You're eliminating distractions. You're eliminating see, Kanas is the torch or the fire. So it's basically about focus. It's about where you're shining your vision. This is basically, it's reversed on the upper line. So the two ways I'm going to read it is, one, you're limiting what you're looking at from the outside, which is, coming from that where you were just sort of everything for everybody. And then you're opening up your field of vision inwardly. So you're expanding your field of vision inwardly to see who you are, and you're closing off to a very small point what you're taking in from outside for this operation, for this endeavor, for this exercise. What is going to help you with that is, what is going to help you with this step of it is just basically seeing this as part of your journey. You may even get some advantages from looking at your journey so far and looking at the choices that you've made, and basically just reviewing your journey and seeing, sort of reconnecting. And then I'm also seeing basically reconnecting with your journey, with what your path needs to be and what you feel like you're here to be doing, and the journey that you feel like you're here to be on. And that's going to help you just sort of eliminate the distractions around you that have been having you tumble from this way to that way, and then just really open it up inwardly and say, okay, what's in here? Maybe even you're going to want to look at what's in here and just basically say how much of what I'm seeing in here is really mine, just basically put it out and say, it's like, all right, this isn't mine, this isn't mine, this isn't mine. Clear the space. Eliminate that, because that's not really your focus. It's something you took on to survive in the world, so that people would continue to look at you with, to look at you with joy. But unfortunately, you're not going to be true to yourself if you're just constantly being a mirror for what's around you. So definitely a good idea to find a place that you can feel safe to be who you are, and to reconnect with your journey, such as it is, and make it a truer sort of journey carrying forward. What isn't going to help? We have Thurisaz and we have the blank rune. So Thurisaz is the rune of the challenge. It's the thorn, the giant, the gateway, and you're basically, it's scary to turn away from this. It's scary because it's like, you have to be so on the ball to keep up with all of this. It's like keeping up with meme culture. It's like you have to, so you can get all the inside jokes. But it's exhausting because you have to be constantly on and picking up all the nuances of all the variations of all of the memes that are happening. And you have to have that history of memes. And it's just like, it gets to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to not do that. It's just kind of like, it's fun and all that, but then, you're trying to keep up with all of this, and it's just like, So it's similar to, it's just another aspect of, the din of humanity and trying to keep up with all of that, which is what was, going on. So you just sort of adopt it for safety's purposes and to protect yourself, you sort of adopt an almost mirror-like stance where you're like, okay, whoever's looking at me with joy, I want to make them happy. I want to make sure everybody around me is happy. But where are you then? So this is why you're doing this. You're focusing on getting a space for yourself that is where you can be who you are, where you feel comforted, where you feel in a sense have a sense of sanctuary, where you feel solace. But the thing about that is, it is a challenge for you to do this, because it's like, there's a sense of, you're worried about losing the momentum of keeping up with all of this, and you're worried about, the challenge that it is. It's the thorn, the giant, the gateway. So it is a threshold that you're going to cross where it's not going to be something that's going to bother you anymore, or you're going to try to make it be something that isn't going to bother you anymore. It's trying to keep up with all of this. And you're worried about just basically losing your place. We have the blank rune, which is the rune of, it's not a rune that actually comes from history. The people in the years that were using Futharks were not carving a blank rune. However, recent edition, quite useful. It's in when you're using the Anglo-Saxon Futhorc, it's filled in by things like oak and ash. But anyway. But not really either. But anyway, it's a useful thing. Basically, it's like, I'm really seeing this as fear of the unknown, but also trackless, mapless. So you're sort of losing your place. And that's what's really worrying about it, because if you step through this and you sort of create a space where it's just you and you become strong with your own journey, which you're not thinking about actually when you do this. You're just like, I just need comfort from this. I need just solace from this. And then you're worried that it's basically going to be, first of all, this is scary to do because I'm moving away from this, but I don't know, if I lose my place in where I am, will I ever pick it up again? But again, the way I read, this is your path, as I knock everything apart, this is your path through the issue, and this is what helps, and this is what doesn't. These tend to be opposites, and whatever this is the antidote to that. So in this case, you're worried about the challenge of it, but it's not going to be as much of a challenge if you just basically focus. You open up on the inside and you focus on eliminating the distractions from what isn't who you truly are. And what's interesting here is that this actually looks visually like you're blocking off yourself from doing this. And because it's Thurisaz, but this is Kaunaz reversed. And look at Kaunaz reversed in this rune. And except it's blocked. There's like a block for you looking inward. So obviously this part isn't going to help you, but this is what's going to help. Remove the block from looking inward and reduce your distractions from the outward input. Similarly, where you're going to feel like I've lost my place, you've only lost your place as far as keeping up with pleasing everybody around you. You haven't lost your place in reconnecting to your own journey, and ultimately that's the only place that matters. So if you're worried about these are what's going to help you. Turn your focus inward, eliminate distractions from outside, and resume your journey. What this is all going to lead you to is a greater connection with inner communication, with the communication with, your inner support, with your inner voice, with your higher self, with your support staff inwardly, guardians, guides, gods, goddesses, all that, dragons, and whatever else that you have that is in your on your side, inwardly, imaginally, and mystically. But all the things, like whatever it is that really helps you with that, your higher self, your inner voice, you're going to have a greater connection with that once you do this step, once you do this process. And you will anyway once you focus on home, but it'll be better for you if you focus on opening up inwardly, reducing your focus outwardly, and except to focus on building a home sort of state for your mind, and hopefully even physically. And then resuming your journey, reconnecting with what your journey, your true journey is. And then you will have a greater connection with your truth. And consequently, less of a sway by the din of humanity. You won't actually be interested in that. You may pay attention to it. You may give it some listening from time to time, but mostly your focus is on your truth. And that's important. That's really important. So there it is. That's the message that wanted to come through today. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye.